What's up guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Rachel, and if you're not new, then welcome back. For today's video, I wanted to test out the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice palette. I used this palette yesterday and I filmed it, but I didn't like the footage, and so I refilmed today. But yesterday I used these purple shadows along the bottom, and today I decided to do something a little bit more warm. And yeah, I actually really like this palette, and I will tell you my thoughts more in the video as I'm doing the eyeshadow look. And yeah, if you want to see how I got this look, then please keep watching. So starting with the eyes, I used the NYX Proof It Waterproof Eyeshadow Primer. And when I tested this palette out yesterday, I didn't like it using just concealer, so I switched it up and used an eyeshadow primer instead. And I'm just blending that out with this flat, fluffy brush. And then following that, I'm going to take an e.l.f. brush, and I'm going to use a Wet n Wild single eyeshadow, and I'm just going to set my eyelids. And I found that this works better instead of just leaving the base sticky. It just makes them blend better. And then I'm going in with a fluffy brush in the shade Fall For It, and I'm going to put that in the crease, and I'm just going to blend that out until I like how it looks and I like the pigmentation and the coloring. And then I'm going to go in with the shade next to that called Pumpkin Spice, and I'm just going to place that right on top of where I put the shade Fall For It. And I'm using that same brush that I used with the first shade, and I'm just going to blend those shades together until I'm content and until I'm happy with how it looks. I'm then taking a clean fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go over the tops of where the eyeshadow is just so I can blend it out a little bit better. And I'm taking the shade Whipped Cream, which is just like a cream color, and I'm lightly putting that on the brush and blending it out. Then I'm taking a separate brush and going in with the shade Spice Baby. These palettes are so like creative, and the names that they use are so cute. I'm taking that shade and I'm placing it on the outer corner of my eyelid. And I'm not bringing it in probably more than halfway, just because I want the darker shades to remain on the outer corner of my eye, and then whatever color I'm going to use on the inside, I want that to be the only color. So I hope that made sense. Now I'm just going back in with my blending brush and further blending, because you can't blend enough. And personal opinion, if you want it to look more smoky, then you want to make sure that you are blending. I then went back in with that same brush that we used the first brown on, and I'm going to pick up the shades Cocoa Drizzle and Warm and Cozy, and I'm going to slightly mix those together and place those on the outer portion of my eye as well, just to deepen up that crease a little bit. And then I'm going in with my fluffy brush that I used in the beginning, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of those transition shades and blend to where everything is smooth. I'm then using my finger in the shade Fall Vibes, and in the palette, looking at it, this shade looks more green than it does gold. However, when I put it on my eyes, it came out a little bit more gold. But, oh, I'm sorry, that was my phone. I'm not complaining. I still like this palette a lot. This shadow I used with my fingers, and I just found that it works best with my fingers. The only issues that it gave me was the amount of fallout that there was, and when I used my finger, I got some of the glitter in places I didn't want it to be. That's why you see me going in with different brushes, trying to wipe it away and all that. And then I ended up somehow with glitter in my hair and in my eyebrows, and it was just a disaster. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of Cocoa Drizzle and Warm and Cozy and just put those on the outer corner just to try and blend a little bit better. Then going in with those transition shades again, just a tiny bit, and blending those out to make sure that the brown and the gold blend in with the transition shades better. Then taking a more precise brush, I just took Whipped Cream and placed it on my brow bone. And here I'm taking a flat definer brush with the shade Warm and Cozy, and it's like a brownish purplish color. And I'm going to take that and place that all along my lash line to make it look like I have on liner, but without putting on a liquid liner or like a gel liner. And I'm just placing that and making it as dark as I want it to be. That way you'll be able to see it better. And then I'm taking that same shade on the brush, and I'm just going to, oh, I'm sorry, I thought my dad was coming in. I'm just gonna make a wing with that, and it's okay if it's not perfect, because you can always take a baby wipe or makeup remover, Q-tip, even concealer, and go back in and clean it up and make it as sharp as you want it, or as thick as you want it, as pointy as you want it. It's really just up to you and your personal preference of how you want to do things. Here you can see I messed up just a little bit, but I ended up going back in and fixing it. And I also ended up taking the shade Spice of Life, which is like, my bad, my phone again. The shade Spice of Life, which is just like a deeper purple, and I placed that on top of the Warm and Cozy. Here I'm using these e.l.f. primers. I think I used both. Could be wrong. Pretty sure I used both. But the matte and poreless and the regular poreless putty primer. Yeah, here we go. And I'm just putting those on the places that give me the most problems, aka where I have pores and blackheads and where I get the most oily. And I feel like I have to use these kinds of primers or else my makeup won't apply well. Here I'm going in with the L'Oreal Infallible foundation, and I'm just placing this with my finger on my cheeks, chin, forehead, and nose. That way I know how much I'm putting on my face, because this is one pump of foundation, and I don't want to put a ton on my hand and then not use the extra foundation. So I just like using my finger with one pump. That way I'm cautious about how much I'm using so my face won't turn out super cakey. And I'm just going to use a ColourPop blending sponge. I really like this one. It's really soft and bouncy. And then here I'm going in with a little bit more foundation just over some problem areas or areas that I want a little bit more coverage without having to load on a bunch of concealer on top. Here I'm using my Wet n Wild contour cream contour stick, and I'm just blending that out with a fluffy brush that I got from Amazon. I don't know what the brand is, but you can find these kinds of brushes anywhere. And I'm just gonna blend this out. The part that I put right here on my cheekbones, I'm kind of like patting it but also stippling it into my skin, and I'm blending up from my cheekbone and up. That way I don't bring the bronzer down towards my jaw, and it just helps keep the definition in your cheekbones. Here I'm using the same cream contour stick on my nose just to give a little bit of like definition and warmth to the center of my nose, as if I went out in the sun, which I have not been doing. Here I'm using Tarte Shape Tape concealer, and I am just going over my under eyes, my nose, my chin, and my forehead, just to make sure that I highlight where I want and draw the brightness towards those areas of my face. Here I'm taking the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Bliss, putting it on the back of my hand, and using my sponge to apply it to my cheeks. I just find that it works much better if you use it on your hand first and then pick it up with your sponge and apply it, because when I used it on my face from the applicator, it dried too quickly and I wasn't able to blend it out where I wanted it to be. And so I just prefer using it with the sponge. But with the highlighter, I'll apply it straight from the applicator on, because I find that it doesn't dry as quickly. And I just like how it blends and the pigmentation of it when I apply it straight to my face. So I'm just using a cleaner part of my sponge and applying it, and then just adding more where I want more. This highlighter is actually really, really natural as well. It's not too in your face, and then once you set it with whatever powder you're using, or you don't have to set it, but for me, when I set it with the Laura Mercier powder, you can still see the highlighter and the glow underneath the powder, and it's so pretty. You don't really even have to add any highlighter on top if you don't want to, if you want to keep it more on the natural side. But either way, it's still really beautiful because you can see the blush and the highlighter fully. Then I'm taking my Milani Baked Bronzer. I believe the shade is called Dolce. And I'm just applying it with a Morphe fluffy brush on the areas that I had put that Wet n Wild cream bronzer stick. If you hear people talking in the background, that's my parents. Just so you know. This blush that I'm using was only $1, y'all. It was $1 and it lasted all day and is so beautiful. It's one of my favorites. And then here I'm gonna go in with this Makeup Revolution highlighting palette, and it was a collaboration with a YouTuber named Soph, or Soph Does Life. And I'm just using that on a fluffy brush, putting it on the high points of my cheekbones, right above my eyebrows, like the arch of my eyebrows, on my nose. I can't remember if I put it on my Cupid's bow or not, but I'm also using those same colors and placing them on my brow bone as well as on the inner corner of my eyes later on. Going back in to finish the eyes, I'm using those same brushes and the same shades that I used on top. And then I'm setting my face with the, I believe it's the LA Girl setting spray. And I'm just taking my sponge and pressing everything into my face, making sure that my face doesn't look so powdery. Here I'm going in with this e.l.f. Brow and mascara duo. And I'm just placing that in my eyebrows to keep the hairs in the same place. Also, just please ignore me talking. I was on the phone the entire time, so just ignore that. I'm curling my eyelashes, put the highlighter on the inner corner of my eyes, and here I'm just putting on some mascara. I didn't put falsies on today for this video. I just wanted to use mascara and just build it up to the intensity that I prefer it. And I believe this one, or both of them, are from Essence. One of them is like this super curl. I'll have it in the description, but then the other one is the Lash Princess mascara. And they work really, really well together to make sure my eyelashes stay curled. Here's just like a little up close. Then I'm putting a different Essence one on the bottom. I'm still testing out this mascara, so I just wanted to use it on the bottom to see how it looked, if it did anything special. But yeah, here's just a quick overview of how everything is looking. And then I'm using the, I believe this is the, Retro Paradise collection from e.l.f. It's one of the lip liners. I think they only have the like numbers 1, 2, and 3. Nude 1, 2, and 3. So I think this one was nude 2. But then I ended up going with nude 3, which is like a deep brown over that, just because I wanted it to be like a super dark and fall look. And so I'm going over the lip liner that I put on underneath. And I know it looks a little bit choppy, but I use my finger to go in and help blend everything out. And then I went back in and finished outlining my lips, adding it in certain places to make it darker in certain spots. And then I went back in with the first lip liner from the Retro Paradise collection, and I blended that in with the darker shade. And then here I'm just using the lip gloss from that same collection on my lips just to provide a little bit of glow. And yeah, here is the overall skin. I really like it. Okay, so this is the finished look. I know my shirt is different, long story, but yeah, this is the eyes finished. I do really like this palette. I think it works really, really nicely. The face makeup that I did in the video is just a bonus. I'll have everything listed in the description below. Tried to keep it very fall-esque inspired. Final thoughts on this palette, I do really, really like it. I think that the shimmery shades, or like the glittery shades, this one, that one, and that one, apply best with your finger. However, when I used my finger, it kind of got in places that I didn't really want it, but that's okay. I just used my eyeshadow brush and I wiped it away, so no problem. But yeah, so I think they apply much better with your fingers. However, it's not a deal breaker, and there's not a lot of fallout. The only time that there was fallout was with the glitter shadow that I put on, and then when I went to wipe it away with a baby wipe, it took like 5 or 6 baby wipes to fully get it off my face, and even then I still had glitter on it. But overall, I do recommend this palette. This is my first time ever using a Too Faced palette, and I am in love already. And I've wanted the chocolate bar palette for so long, but I'm glad I didn't get that one and I got this one, because I like the colors in this one much better than I do on the other one. So if you have a few bucks to spare, or you can wait for some kind of sale, then I highly recommend this palette. Yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and like the video, give it a comment below, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!